on a mission, solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind, in the darkness all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be. For justice wheels keep turning, Granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. When Granny's crime busters run, no victims left in pain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is having a good night so far. Wonderful weekend. It's really warm here. Beautiful Sunday. Beautiful Sunday. Hello, Lori and Ginger Girl. Anna, welcome in. We're happy to have you here. Happy to have you guys here. We had some fun with our 70s and 80s trivia earlier. And our members only live. It was pretty funny. All right. Get started with Spotlight on the Missing. We have Nicholas Ryan Sansevero. I think that's how you say it. Missing since June 26th. Just a few days. Last seen in Fluvanna County, Virginia. He's 15 years old. Last seen wearing a white shirt and tan cargo pants. He may be traveling in a champagne-colored Toyota sedan, and he may be in need of medical attention. So if anybody knows anything about Nicholas's whereabouts or his disappearance, please contact the Fluvanna County Police Department or call 911. Need to bring our kids home, don't we? Very important. Let's not forget about 21-year-old autistic Jonathan Huang. He is high functioning, will respond to his name, possibly been lured away by somebody online. Last seen March 30th. Although he is high functioning, his social circle has only been his immediate family, and he doesn't know how to take care of himself. So his family is really worried about him, guys. If you know anything, please call the Arlington PD or even his dad's phone number. And guys, only call the dad if you know something about his disappearance. Don't call him and bother him with anything else, please. All right, and let's not forget Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Gosh, I got a tickle in my throat. Hang on just a second. Okay, so Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, our little buddy, last seen February 25th, 2024. No idea where he is. No idea what happened to him. A lot of speculation online, guys, but he needs to be found. He really does. He needs to come home to his dad. So light it up green for him. Share his picture every single day, guys. Because Sebastian needs to come home. Travis Decker is still out there somewhere. They are thinking he may be deceased now. He ran after taking the lives of his 3 young girls. So he's wanted for 3 counts of first-degree red rum and first-degree kidnapping. See the multiple pictures. He could have long hair in a ponytail. It could be short. He could have shaved it all off. He could have a mustache or beard. He could have shaved part of it off or all of it off. If he is alive and you do see him, do not approach. Call 911 right away. let them know where you are at and where you saw him. His 3 little girls are gone, and their mother is devastated. It's Peyton from the right, Evelyn, and Olivia. All right. Let's see who we got in here. Missed quite a bit. Okay. Got to cook dinner? Okay, that's all right. What are you cooking, Anna? Can we come over for dinner? Hello, Neuro. Good to see you. Awesome. All right. So, I wanted to show the newer messages from Daniel. Allegedly, we're in a Facebook group. Don't really know the context behind them all, but I will show them. And then we've got a video that we can watch. And these are alleged from Daniel. Again, guys, you know, I took these from It's a Crime and Shame. Their link to their description is in the description for this video below. So, you know, are they his? I can't tell you for sure. I'm just showing them to you for information's sake. So it said she will go as long as she can, but will crack after her mental health is put to the test with exams. I'm saying too much, you think? I believe they're alive and Malaya knows who took them, drove them off the property. Malaya will crack soon. Not one person in her family speaks to bring the kids home. No one knew. It started after Meadow was born. She also said the kids are in the woods. Stupid me believed that, and I searched and searched. They can't. Then the kids would be moved to a different location. So, guys, your guess is as good as mine as to what he's responding to in these groups. We can kind of read somewhat into them. Honestly, I think Daniel should shut up. It's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. The next one. We already read this one. I believe they're alive. Malaya knows who took them. She will go as long as she can, but will crack after her mental health is put to the test with exams. I'm saying too much. She was going to break that day. That's why she made the mistake with Meadow. Yeah, we know him. He's Malaya's family. I'm assuming he's speaking of Durwood. My kids, yes, great with mine. It's ruining all of this province's faith. Something that really irritates me is he keeps trying to put it out there that Malaya is mentally ill. We do not know that in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to take his word for it, guys. I really am not. It's just not going to happen. Malaya has been quiet since her first interview. I mean, pretty much there was those few little texts that she had with Belinda, but I'm just not gonna take his word that there's something wrong with her mentally. And now, it sounds like they're both fighting for custody, and they both have family lawyers. So he's going to say whatever he wants to say, but you know what? He's hurting his case by coming out and speaking in the public like this. He's hurting his case. Yeah, she wanted birth certificates, school pics, and one stuffed animal for Lily and Jack. No, one good thing, she went on and on about trauma for the first year over and over. I had to say to her, stop it. Yes, it's not her hiding them. I can't go into that res she belongs to. It's dangerous for me. Um, I don't believe that either. I have seen a lot of statements, and the people from that reservation have responded and said, we are not like that. Unless you come and cause trouble, we do not, you're not in danger by going on the reservation. Only if you cause trouble with somebody or something. They have their own police guys. So this statement about he can't go on the res is ridiculous. Here we go with another mental statement. She doesn't have the mental foresight to understand the complex nature of what she is about to do. 2 missing kids at the same time, 1 in a million. She fell in love with Meadow, and Jack and Lily fell to the wayside. I lived it. I took care of Lily and Jack. She only cared for Meadow. Will you please tell us, Daniel, what you believe Lily and Jack were wearing? I wore both during the search, navy blue, one first night, and white, one second day. I can't tell you because it's part of the investigation on clothes they wore, the kids. It was normal days for me, but she had different plans. They don't have on what we think they had on. I'll leave it there. I'm playing with fire, speaking out. Yeah, I would say he's playing with fire. And the last one is, we both have family lawyers, court battle for Meadow. That's what he says. Okay. Who is giving these texts out? Daniel himself? Is he talking to himself? No one listening to his lies anymore? No, he was on a Facebook group, and he was talking to people in the group, answering questions here and there. That's why they're all clipped and funny, because they were just taking his answers on what he was saying. If you know anything about Facebook, right, it just keeps going on and on and on, and it goes down underneath the initial post. So they just kept taking his answers, allegedly. I don't even take it for real that this is him, guys, because I'm just telling you what they're putting out there, that this is what he's saying. It does sound like a lot of what he said before, so it does make sense, but I don't know. Bolognese sauce. Oh, sounds good. He does like the word crack, doesn't he? Oh, yeah. He's great with all the children, just not Lily and Jack. Yeah. I don't know about that, right? Hey, Daniel, did you do something that made Malaya have mental health issues? She was a great woman until you came along. Well, I mean, Belinda thought a lot of her, but Belinda also said that the relationship between Cody and Malaya was not good. So, could something have started at that point? I'm just saying, I don't know Cody. I don't know what he's like. I'm not trying to put anything on him, but even Belinda said that their relationship was not good. So I don't know. Hey, Daniel, the RCMP put the clothes they were wearing in the reward statement. Are you not paying attention? Yeah. Yep. Hello, Truth and Beauty. Glad you're here. I agree. Either way, if, their first interviews, they both alluded to neglect. They were laying there when the kids were up. They should have been up, right? So, I mean, even if that story wasn't true, that does tell me that they've done that before. They've laid in bed with the kids up. So, you know what I'm saying? So, even if it wasn't true that day, you wouldn't say it unless it had been true before, right? Try to stick to the truths you know. Yeah. Yeah, real supportive partner to tell her to stop it when talking about her trauma. Yeah. Instead of maybe getting her help. So, I mean, I agree. I agree. Um is, are these true? Are they? I don't know. Right? I took them from It's a Crime and Shame. Like I said, the link is in the thing below. They seem to believe that this is Daniel talking. But in my opinion, his statements have changed, right? And he even got caught in a lie and let Darren tell it, right? So I just think that, I don't know, either he's not very smart or he's got okay, gotcha, truth. Or do you want, I guess you want to be known by truth. um but yeah, I don't know if his statements have changed so much, and it reminds me of Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Their statements changed over time as well. We're only 8 weeks into this, right? So he's already changed his statements, guys. That's pretty sad. That's really sad. Really sad. I don't know. It shocks me that, I mean, I didn't check to see how long it took Chris and Katie to change their statements, but you know, I think it did take a little longer than 8 weeks. The place they lived was not suitable for young children at all. Um, I've tried not to be judgmental, but I would agree with you. Yeah. Well, from we've done the statement analysis. We're going to hear more tonight. You can't keep up with the changes. It's difficult, right? But we know that they both have guilty knowledge, according to the statement analysis that we have seen and watched. They both have guilty knowledge. I just really have a hard time with Daniel trying to portray her as mentally ill. That's not for him to do. And it's wrong on so many levels that you would talk to the mother of your child, like talk about the mother of your child like that. In on a national podium. I mean, just out there. That's really sad, right? That's true. We're getting a glimpse into how nasty child custody cases can be. Ugh. That breaks my heart, guys. Parents need to think of their children before anything else. I didn't have that. I can honestly say I didn't have that. Um, my ex was a beater, um, controlling, mental, psychological, emotional. Ugh. I went through it all with him. But he was a good dad. Go figure. He never missed his child support the whole time. And we were divorced when my youngest was only, let's see, 6 months old. So, he paid child support for a long time, guys. He never missed one. Never missed one. So I did not have that. We worked together on, you know, holidays, all that kind of stuff. We didn't have any arguments. If we had a good reason, if he wanted to take them on a vacation, it wasn't his weekend, I'd let him do it. If I needed them, he let me do it. We never argued, and I'm thankful for that. I'm so thankful because we're seeing it now. You guys hear me now? Hello, twists and turns. Cool. Okay, I wanted to make sure you guys could hear me. Yeah, it popped up a little notice that it was having a hard time hearing or connecting. Yet I have internet on every other tab. It's just StreamYard, so ridiculous. How can Malaya's uncle be her lawyer? I don't think he's her uncle. It's the chief's brother who is her lawyer, from what I've heard. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to think about StreamYard. I've downloaded a few other ones and they're not as user friendly as StreamYard is. That's why most people use StreamYard, but yeah, we have been having problems. Lori, can you hear me? All right. So what we're going to do is go ahead and listen to Mr. Yummy. Present my screen. All right. And we're going to listen to what he has to say. The title of this, I've not watched it yet, guys. It's not happening. I don't know what that means, but let's look.
4-year-old is wearing some blue dinosaur boots.
Police say they found a boot print. And listen to this in the radio chatter.
Families brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket.
Police won't say anything about a blanket, but Martel says a piece of Lily's blanket was found near the boot print. He says both children may have undiagnosed autism.
This update on the search for Lily and Jack Sullivan raises some huge red flags. So in today's video, let's watch it together and break them down. I'll also reveal how I would have asked their stepfather about them if he'd ever accepted my interview invite. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For exclusives and other cool perks, join the channel. Link in description. I assume most of my subscribers are familiar with the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan from Nova Scotia, but even if you aren't, don't worry because this update gives a really solid recap. So there's just one last thing I want to say before we grab our deception decks and start watching, and it's this. Hoaxing is really, really hard. A hoaxer can't just make up a story and call it a day. Their hoax has to sound plausible, it has to match any evidence the police or searchers might ever find, and it has to be simple enough to memorize perfectly. And if they can somehow do all that, they're still not out of the woods. They have to be able to deliver that story convincingly under pressure, while at the same time making sure never to have a slip of the tongue and accidentally reveal the truth. In other words, hoaxes are fragile things, and if you ask the right questions and phrase them the right way, you might just be able to get them to crack. So without further ado, let's watch.
Do you think those kids are in the woods? From everything I've seen, yes. We got the first call shortly
I don't agree with her.
on Friday morning on the 2nd that there was 2 children lost up here in Lansdowne, and we just deployed the team and got here as fast as we could.
And when you got that first call, did anything stand out about that first call? Was unique or unusual?
It's not common to have 2 lost subjects in that kind of scenario. So with kids like that, it's not common to have the 2. It's not uncommon, so a pair of hikers is overdue or something like that. But with kids, it is a little uncommon to have 2 gone missing.
Have you found anything?
The only thing that we had was the boot prints, said everybody. And we still cannot 100% say that they belong to the children. but that was pretty much the only thing that we had.
You think they're in the woods?
I have not been told anything to lead me to any other conclusion at this point.
Why can't you find them?
They're small. They'd be hiding. They would have crawled underneath something probably when they got tired. They could have gone further than what we searched. There's all kinds of scenarios, unfortunately. So we're on Lansdowne Road. It was in one of the areas that was searched extensively, as you can tell from like the flagging tape in the woods. So when teams are tasked, they get a bearing or a waypoint.
Hello, hello.
Or both for where they are to start. So they come down into the woods and they'll tie a ribbon so they know where their start point is. And then they start on their compass bearing into the woods. As you can see another flag. So this is where they were going straight into the woods. So they're following their bearing, putting their flag line down and searching at the same time, coming up through all of this stuff.
How much of this is down because of Fiona?
A lot of this is down because of Fiona, and some of it could have come down after the fact, but the vast majority of it was probably from Fiona. So grid searching comes in different types. So we have type 1, type 2, and type 3. A type 1 is fairly open. So if we're looking more for signs of travel or say larger objects, so if we know they have a backpack or something like that, we can space people out, 10, 20 meters apart. And especially if we think somebody's going to be responsive, so they're going to talk to us when they're calling to us, we'll do open. We were doing closed grid or type 2, so teams were very close together because we were expecting children to be hiding.
I have an entire card in my deception deck about interviewing hoaxers and getting them to slip up. I'll put it on your screen in a moment if you want to read the full rule, but the gist is if you can increase their cognitive load or the amount of thinking they need to do in a short period of time, the more likely they are to slip up. In this case, if Daniel had accepted my invite for an interview, I would have asked him about that radio chatter I played at the intro to this video, where the searcher said that he and the kid's mother, Malaya, were the ones who directed them to the area where they found the boot print. Because if he's a hoaxer, he's probably the one who planted that stuff there in order to sell the hoax that the kids wandered off. And if that's the case, like any good hoaxer, he'd probably already have a prepared answer for any direct question about how he found that boot print there. So the trick to getting him to slip up would be to ask the question in a way that increases his cognitive load, like asking him to recount finding the boot print in reverse order, which is much harder for liars to do because they're not relying on real sensory memories. Or asking a surprise question, something he's unlikely to have prepared for, or an extremely detailed question that he and Malaya are unlikely to answer the same way if they both get asked about it. For example, off the top of my head, who was walking in front when you guys found the boot print? Who was walking in front when you guys first entered the woods? Did you guys ever swap places? Did you notice anything else unusual during the hike? Did you see any animals? If one of them says yes, let's see if the other one also says yes, and let's see if they say the same animal. Stuff like that. I've gone over these techniques so many times in my old videos that I don't want to spend too much time rehashing them here in this one. Instead, I want to show you some new techniques, and a good opportunity for one is coming up next. So let's keep listening.
So I don't think he realizes that Malaya never went in the woods to search. Did they direct them to that boot print? I don't know. I assumed that they saw the boot print when they were out searching the first time, and then they decided to come back and search that area more. Isn't that what the search lady said? I think. Yeah, kids can't outdo adult drones and helicopters, right? Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why she thinks the kids are still in the woods. I really don't. Yeah, they never had any search poles. We saw all those. How many of them did we see? And there weren't any. Yes, and now Daniel's family is saying that, or Daniel is saying Malaya's family showed them the boot print. Yeah, but it wasn't, right? Only Super D can. Right. So I don't know why she thought this, especially when they didn't find any sign of them, right? The boot print could have been planted the blanket, it was just a little tore off piece of a blanket, did, uh, you know, I heard that they threw it in the garbage, and it was up in a tree. I mean, I don't know, guys. I mean, everything sounds fishy, doesn't it? Everything. Everything. And Daniel isn't helping anything by anything that he's saying. He's making it worse. That's my opinion. Runs faster than a helicopter and leaps fallen trees with a single bound. Runs through waist deep water. So pretty. Oh, I think I still need to make a cartoon image of him in a Superman outfit. Yeah, a bird could have picked it up for a nest. Exactly. Exactly.
A lot of children that age range will hide. So if we're 20 meters apart in some of these woods, you can't see 2 feet away from you. Like there would be places where teams would be almost able to touch their fingertips together and they couldn't actually see each other through the bushes. It's that thick in places.
So how does this compare to what your teams have been dealing with?
This is actually fairly mild compared to some of the areas.
Mild. It looks like such a mess.
It does look like a mess, and you got the thorn bushes and the deadfalls, but there's places that are actually a lot worse. But there are places that are a little bit better as well.
But what would be worse?
A
What
lot
does
more
it-
deadfall. You can get places where it's just deadfall on top of deadfall on top of deadfall, and you literally have to crawl underneath of it or climb over top of it.
You were also saying, though, to the general public, don't come help us. Why did you say that?
We don't want the general public in the area because we use a lot of very specialized assets like canines that are looking for the freshest humans that they can find. So if we have somebody from the public go through an area and we don't know, but we were deliberately waiting to send a canine into that area, that canine could get on the track from that person, and then we've just wasted that resource because once that dog's probably done its track, they're probably exhausted and can't go out and do anything else. And same as drones, if we're flying a drone over the area and we get a heat signature from somebody in an area and we can't identify who or what it is, then we have to send police resources to confirm who that is. And in the same breath, a lot of it comes down to training. So our people are trained to look for the little things, the footprints, the pieces of clothing that are discarded, the broken branches, the spots where somebody might have crawled in underneath.
See, guys, as you watch this, they don't have any walking sticks with them. Every single video we've watched, none of them have
something
them.
and had a nap or something like that. So they're very clue sensitive is what we call it. They're clue finders. So we're not just looking for the 2 children. We're looking for all the evidence of them going through the area, which is a big part of what we do. So when the boot print was found, we told the team just to send us the coordinates. We got a picture. Yeah, it looks like a children's rubber boot print, which is what we were looking for. Conversed with the incident commander. Yeah, we're going to send. We sent an RCMP canine in first. Then we sent human tracking teams, so like man trackers. So we have some members that have been trained to do tracking themselves. We sent them in and we did some grid searching in the area to see, just to follow up. And then the RCMP forensics unit went in and did actually a cast of the boot print.
If you've been following my analysis of this case since the beginning, you'll know that Daniel Martel said in his early interviews that he spent a lot of time in the woods searching for Lily and Jack before the police even got there. I assume that's how he explained finding that boot print. It also convenient to explain any other trace of him in those woods because
Okay, but hang on. Because Daniel didn't get there until after the RCMP were there. Remember, he was off looking in the dirt road. I'm just saying, guys. And in the culverts, right? Yeah, I mean, they should carry those. I would think with what they're going through, pushing the brush away to look in all that garbage that they were in, I would think that would be an important thing, a walking stick. Hello, Kent. Good to see you. a big D on his t-shirt. The blanket came up before, and Daniel said it was not Lily's. There was also a sippy cup found, yet he knew what she was wearing down to her backpack. Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny farm for all of us. I cannot see these kids going in there when it's wet, mushy ground, unless they were lured in there by someone they know. Did they check for ATV tracks? I'm sure they were. Remember, they said they were checking for everything. She even just said that. Where is the evidence? Exactly. The bugs would have had those kids screaming for help. Lily would have been screaming, in my opinion. It wasn't a big blanket. It was only a piece of one, like a little corner off of one. Anna, I get what you're saying. They don't want us saying her name, so I'm not going to put it up on the screen though, because they want her to get, kind of go incognito now that she's getting help. She's found alive, and that poor baby. What a good little baby, huh? That sat there for 3 days because her mama said to. That blows my mind, because 3-year-olds usually are not that obedient, right? But she was on a major highway, so she could have been scared, but yes. The brambles, bugs, and thorns, yes, would have stopped them. Yes, and they did check those out. Sometimes they were crawling over trees or under trees. A walking stick could give them no good. It would make impressions that they might follow up for the wrong reason. Yeah, it was just a little piece of a blanket. Excuse me, guys. All right, let's continue on.
He could say that that trace came from when he was searching for Lily and Jack, not out there hiding them. But that's the smaller of the 2 points I want to make here. The reason I paused is because now we've learned that him going out there and running around in the woods was actually detrimental to the search. Maybe if a searcher had found the boot print rather than Daniel, the sniffer dog might have had a better chance of tracking where Lily and Jack went after leaving that boot print. We'll never know, and that's the point. Because hoaxers often don't feel the emotions they should be feeling if their story were true, like regret or curiosity. I've never seen Daniel appeal to any potential kidnappers out there, even though the kids vanished without a trace. But most of all, hoaxers forget to be suspicious, and that's because being suspicious is really risky. If Daniel and Malaya are actually in it together, pointing their fingers at each other to appear innocent could make the police look deeper into them and end up cracking the case. And that's the dilemma I would have liked to present to Daniel if he'd let me interview him. You either have to point the finger at Malaya and tell us that you don't know for sure she didn't do anything, or explain to us how you know she's innocent when your very own alibi says that you were sleeping for part of the time when the kids disappeared. Let's keep watching.
We did investigate a few wells and mine shafts. The teams came across them in the woods, so they would look in them as best they could. There was one mine shaft we actually ended up flying a drone into to see if there was any sign of anything going in there, because it wasn't safe to send people in. And there was no sign of any disturbance or anything inside the mine shaft. So I know they're still doing investigation. Anytime a tip comes in, they follow right up on it. So
Do you feel it's been searched as well as it can be searched?
what has been searched very well, very extensive. Over 12,000 hours put in on the search. It's pretty much unheard of in this province. All searches are hard unless we have a good ending, obviously, but some hit closer to home than others do. There was members that couldn't bring themselves to call names, but other people on the team were. So it wasn't impeding the search effort, but because of personal reasons, they couldn't actually physically call for the names themselves.
They just couldn't say the words.
They couldn't get it out, no, for whatever reason they had. And there was people coming to the end of it that, whether it was physically, they were just exhausted, or mentally exhausted, that couldn't return to the search area as well. So we saw a little bit lower numbers on some of the revisit searches that we did with some of the teams.
For that first weekend search, after, you know, the searches scaled back on May 7th.
Yeah.
What were you told when you got that call? Like, why were you going back?
It was actually a conversation. I was meeting with Major Crimes on a regular basis, going through the paperwork from the search and showing them what was covered and what wasn't covered. And it was actually a conversation had between us that, yeah, there's some areas that we would like to go in and get covered off, either better or new areas that we said, well, there's a possibility, so we want to just go search those areas as well. So it's not uncommon for us to go back to a search if we haven't found something.
What prompted then the second weekend search?
Basically the same thing, just more areas that we really wanted to see get covered and just expand out on what we had done.
So just to be clear, it was not as a result of the new information?
It was not. No.
Interesting. I honestly don't think they ever went into the woods on their own. There would be turkey, vultures, and other wildlife around. So I understand, Osprey. Yeah, I don't think they did either, honestly. So, yeah. If Janie said that about Malaya, why did the police search the woods? If Janie told them, or did she? In my opinion, she didn't. She said she did, evidently, allegedly. I mean, I don't know. But Malaya said they went into the woods. She was their mom. So I think they had no choice but to search the woods, in my opinion. So let's continue on.
I think it gave some people in the public hope,
Yes.
you know, like, oh, maybe they found something there in that area they're looking. It wasn't that.
It was not.
Mm.
So it was just that we wanted to extend out our search area and cover off areas. Most of these people, they're all volunteers. They just want to find the kids and bring them home. So they're more than willing to keep coming back and keep searching. Unfortunately, at this point, unless something comes up, we're probably not going to be back. But that being said, somebody could find something that brings us back.
As she said, they're unlikely to ever come back and continue looking for Lily and Jack unless they have some good reason to, which if I were interviewing Daniel, I would have used to open the door to one final technique I want to cover in this video, the devil's advocate.
He really wants to interview Daniel. How many times has he said that in this video alone? This video is only 13 minutes, guys. He said that a number of times. He's also said in other videos that he wants to interview Daniel, but that's funny. I find that really funny.
Question. For example, Daniel, I know you're innocent and Malaya is innocent and so is everyone else who lived on the property. But just for a moment, let's play devil's advocate. If we wanted to find that bit of evidence that could compel the searchers to come back, where should we look? The reason this question type is so effective for catching hoaxers and liars is because they still want to appear cooperative, so they'll still answer your question. And because they know the truth, whether it's because they're guilty or they know who is guilty, they often answer the devil's advocate question with far more detail and conviction than they tell their own fake made-up story. In other words, even if he didn't tell me exactly where to look to find evidence of what happened to Jack and Lily, just by comparing his vague, nebulous alibi to his answer to a devil's advocate question, you could get a better sense of whether or not he's lying. Plenty more techniques like plans and sketches, which we can cover in another video. If you want to do that, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing. It's time. Stay true.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, the never-ending changes are concerning, especially when it conflicts with what the RCMP are saying. I agree. Well, especially if they, they don't want anyone to know that they had a car pick them up. I mean, we don't know that, right? Can ticks attach themselves onto clothes? I thought just skin. That searcher has gators on her legs. Gators on her legs? What? Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I found them on clothes. I have found them on clothes. They get on clothes first and then find the skin. How long is RCMP going to allow Dee to make changes before they bring him in? I don't know. Didn't we hear that it's moving on to the third phase? That's really hard and interrogation. I mean, I don't know. At that point, they could. Yeah, they said they could see the ticks crawling on their clothes. Yep. They crawl into seams. When you take off their clothes, they can attach to your skin. Yep. Yep. I have seen them do that. They're no fun. I hate ticks. Oh, I hate ticks. Interesting, though. And, Daniel just keeps talking. Guys, remember, it wasn't that long ago, a couple weeks. Didn't he say he was done talking? He wasn't going to talk anymore? Even that he lied about. Oh, my goodness. Right? He can't help himself. He can't help himself. And yet you have Malaya over here who's not saying anything. We don't know what's going on with her. We don't know that she's mentally ill, guys. I do think she has some guilty knowledge. But we don't know much of anything, right? We really don't. So no problems, Lori. We did hear that if caught in a lie or changing story, the RCMP can now consider them a hostile witness. And yeah. And then is he gonna admit that that they aren't being nice to him anymore? I don't think so. So if Malaya put kids in the car, like Daniel says, why did she say abduction and Amber Alert? She would be telling on herself. Good point. No, good point. Now we have Dr. Dan. He's really a superhero, isn't he? Oh, man. So, we're trying to figure this thing out and to find out what happened to these precious babies, right? What happened to these precious babies? That's what I want to know. What happened to them, right? And we've got mom staying totally quiet. Honestly, I give her a lot of credit because I don't think that I would be able to remain so quiet if my ex is telling the world that I'm mentally incapable of taking care of my children. I'd be wanting to defend myself, honestly. Now, there's also talk about her being seen on the beach. Allegedly, her friend took the picture and Malaya let her, but then her friend posted it, which is very strange, guys. And her friend was defending her, saying we had to do a lot of talking to get her to go out with us, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to think about that. She doesn't have Meadow anymore, allegedly. I mean, we've not been told by our CMP or anybody else, that that's the case. Anyone, law enforcement, anything like that, right? And so I don't know. It's, we said a lot about Katie Proudfoot, right? She left home a week after after Sebastian went missing. How could she do that? And people are saying a lot about Malaya going to the beach. So I get it, right? I get it. I don't know what to think about this case anymore, guys. I don't know who to trust as far as those that are speaking, because it's fishy. The whole thing is just fishy. Yeah, he's not thought about his ending of his story very well, has he? Well, here's what I'm going to say about that. Yes, there's Dylan Ayler, Two Boys and Churro. Yeah. It's not the RCMP's fault that these kids are gone. First and foremost, guys, let me just say that. Let's place the blame where the blame belongs. In this case, the blame belongs on Daniel and Malaya. In Dylan's case, it belongs on the grandma. She took her eyes off of them. The Two Boys and Churro, I don't know enough about that to know, but typically there's somebody that wasn't watching the kids, right? So there are children missing all over the world, and there's too many of them. And there's too many households that are questionable. I mean, I see it every day. If I wanted, I do my morning channel once in a while now. But if I really wanted to, every single day I could put up something about children who have been mistreated in some way, shape, or form. And children who are missing and their parents aren't looking for them, and they're not even seeking the national news for them. But you know what? Subscribers across the board don't want to hear, they only want to hear certain cases. It's the way it is. I could talk about missing kids until I'm blue in the face, because there's so many out there that I could spend hours every night showing you faces of missing children just in the United States alone. Between the 4 adults, they all know what happened to these kids, no doubt. And you're just going to call Dan a distraction? Yeah, I thought those 2 little boys were found. Am I wrong? The guy with the banjo was called Deliverance. It is fishy. Nothing adds up, right? Just like Sebastian Rogers' case, nothing adds up. Well, except the 3 a.m. car and the flashlights, to me, does add up to something nefarious went on. That's when Sebastian was taken, in my opinion, but you still can't prove it, right? Nothing adds up. Why? What is going on? Are these parents watching the internet to figure out how to get away with getting rid of their children? I hate to say that, but it just seems like it, right? It just seems like it. And it's so scary. And it's wrong on so many levels. Babies like this on the screen should not go missing. And you've even got the little one who was found, and I thank God for her. She's on the far right with her mother. And because of her 3 days in the ditch, she's got a long road ahead of her. Right? Every scenario and still end up at the starting post. It's true. In the early days, you did think a hoax. Well, it's obviously not a hoax as far as them missing. I mean, they are gone somewhere. Who had a hand in it? Because these two little children didn't just take off by themselves. Unlike that searcher, we heard that she still thinks they're in the woods. I don't believe that. And honestly, if they're found in the woods, then I want confirmation. I would want confirmation from law enforcement as to when they were put there, because they can tell if they've been moved around and put somewhere else. Right? Yes, Osprey. Every time I see that, I'm so happy. The numbers seem to be getting bigger. They've been arresting traffickers, but then it's only a handful of kids at a time. This last one was 60 kids, and that's incredible, right? That's incredible. I keep hoping one of them is going to be Sebastian, right? Yeah, even the RCMP believe the children would be found quickly. So something nefarious was done, in my opinion, with these children, with Jack and Lily. Well, with Sebastian too, and with Summer. Unfortunately, in my opinion, with Dylan, I don't think anything nefarious was done. I think he got swept away. Yeah, I do too. I mean, early on, I had even said to Ginger, do you think these kids are in the res, right? But the reservations typically work with law enforcement. They don't want to have anything like that. You know. You can be sure they don't like being run around in circles by Dee changing his stories. And then, I mean, think about it, guys. All right, let's think about this for a second. you got Malaya who goes silent, lawyers up. Think about this as if you're the head investigator for Jack and Lily's case. Just pretend with me for a minute that you are the head investigator for Jack and Lily's case, okay? You did all the doggone searching. You took statements from everybody, right? You did polygraphs. You did all that, right? Nothing was found in the search of any value. Malaya lawyers up, not talking. Daniel, he's being more than helpful, right? And as you watch him, he's changing his story all over the place. And then insert Mr. Bewitched. Right? Can you imagine what they're thinking? And who knows how many other people are calling into their tip line, right? I think Daniel told Malaya to phone the police when he came back after disposing the kids and done a runner again. The kid on out he's searching and thought the police would take longer to get there. I mean, anything's a possibility at this point. He did say he told Malaya to call the police. Yeah, that Malaya took his 2 sweaters. I would bet they are, Ginger. She said, I am hearing many First Nations people who are very upset with Daniel and his family for the things they're saying about the band and the reserve. I'll bet they are. And maybe he wouldn't be safe going on the rest. Because he's causing trouble, isn't he? Oh my God, that song's going to go through my head again tonight, Neural. Thank you so much. Is Durwood still talking? I mean, he was on, but he really wasn't. He didn't say much of it. Much of anything, I don't think so. And now I think Daniel and his family are sticking together to blame Malaya now by making her out crazy, and that's why she can't say anything. Yeah. Yeah, he came out just in time for a reward, didn't he, Walla? He sure did. You know. Think about it, though. If his story was accurate, they would have had the kids by now. Uh-oh, you're having a vision? Seriously, because they had that hundreds of hours of footage, dash cam footage that they were going through. They would have seen those kids get into a car. Yeah, Durwood is actually going to the custody hearings. He's trying to help Daniel get custody of Meadow, but never mind that Malaya is his relation, right? Something stinks in that neck of the woods, in my opinion. Something isn't right there. I mean, let me ask you guys this. So I have a lot of distant cousins, right? I do. And let's say that it's the same kind of scenario. Well, I'm gonna tell police everything I know, but I am not gonna come out publicly and talk against my relation. Not gonna happen. Yeah, he's calling everyone idiots. Yeah, I know. Well, he's bewitched. Yeah, I hope neither one of them. That baby belongs maybe with Belinda. Well, Belinda isn't the grandma. I don't know. The baby belongs with someone who will love her, in my opinion. Money brings out the worst in some people. Yeah, but the thing is, Neural, you have to be right to get the reward. I'm saying, yeah, it has to, the knowledge that you gave, the evidence that you gave has to come to a conviction in order for you to get the reward. So if you're wrong, guess what? No money for you. Yes, he would. Hey, Durwood, it takes one to know one, right? You were actually there. You saw it all. Okay, Walla. Are you okay? Maybe he got a plan with Distraction Dan to split it. Maybe, but they still have to be right. And you just saw the messages today that you know, he doesn't know where they are or whatever. Why feed fire? Yes, exactly. Exactly. Big question. When was Justin crying? Was it the same day the kids went missing? No, it was on Monday when Belinda went there to talk to Daniel. She knew that Malaya was already gone. So it was Monday that Justin was crying. It's a good point, Ginger. If what Bewitch says is true, why put it on social media? Kids could be moved. They could be harmed if somebody has them, right? Exactly. I agree 100%. I still am really leaning on some kind of an accident. either rugs, chemicals, because they were playing alone, or a dog. I really want to know if Justin had a dog, and was it a big one? That's what I want to know. And is that why Justin was crying? I still think it was planned by Daniel's family to get Malaya to hand over Meadow to Logan, but Malaya wasn't so stupid to hand her over. You may have something there, right? Accident 1, but 2, you know how kids are. With a dog, I don't know. But with kids, try this. I don't know. None of these people that are teaming up with Daniel seem to truly care about Jack and Lily. I agree. I agree. I don't know. I feel like things are heating up in this case, but I don't know if it's that it's heating up just on social media or that it's heating up with RCMP. I don't know. Gummy Bears maybe is hungry, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. And why did Daniel not want his mom to hear what he was saying to Belinda? And his mom said something different than Daniel said, allegedly, if what Durwood is saying is true. But then again, all I hear from Daniel is Meadow, Meadow, Meadow. Yeah. I don't blame Malaya for hanging on to Meadow. She was the last child that she had. Her other two were gone. Now, did she know what happened to them? I don't know. I don't know. I think she has some guilty knowledge, but guilty knowledge could mean that she felt guilty about not getting up when she heard them. It could be that. It could be that she knows what happened to them. It could be all kinds of things, right? But I don't blame her for hanging on to Meadow. It doesn't mean that she ignored Jack and Lily, like Daniel's saying. We don't know that. I mean, how can we go by what he's saying? He's lied too many times. You know, it's like my thing said, why can't Daniel let go? But the messages keep coming. He keeps talking. Why was Daniel fixing a fence and Janie doing potholes? I don't know, right? I mean, there's a lot of other stuff they could have been fixing up in that yard. Seriously. I mean, potholes, I guess, depending on where they are in the driveway, are, you know, could be detrimental to cars. But I don't know. It is kind of the timing of it, right? The day before, night before they went missing. I don't know. Just, we can rack our brains all day. We're not going to know the answer, are we? We can speculate. We can tell what our thoughts and our opinions are, but I just, what I don't understand is how people can, I mean, we all make mistakes, right? But how can people take a side? Because, guys, I hope you know, I'm not taking a side here. There's no side except the side of Lily and Jack, right? There's no side. Because we haven't heard really from Alea, the one interview, and all Daniel's doing is causing trouble and lying. How can you believe that and take his word for anything? Maybe Janie was digging holes, not filling holes. That's scary, Ginger. Durwood said Janie was already awake. She got a call from her brother Daniel, said the dog barking waked her up. Right, but do you believe what Durwood said, Lori? Because I don't. Compulsive liar. He's lying to everyone and anyone. He's going to slip up at some point and forget whom he already has. He already has. I don't believe anything Daniel says. I don't believe anything Durwood says. I'm sorry. I really just don't. I don't believe either one of them. Even when he was just allegedly speaking for Janie, we don't know that any of that is true. We don't know that Malaya put 2 kids in a car. We don't know. And honestly, I really feel that if she did, they would have been able to track them down by now. I really do. Janie, who can blow a hole in you, should start speaking for herself. Yeah, she's not going to. She's not going to. Oh, I don't know. Maybe she will to the other channel. I don't know. At this point, I don't know if I could believe her. I'd really have to wait to see what Mr. Yummy says about it before I could. Although, guys, we are getting really good at statement analysis, aren't we? We are. We're starting to pick up on things, right? Lies and hoaxes, all kinds of things. Which is awesome. I'm glad we're learning, It's helping us to grow and to learn and to, it'll help us with future cases, right? Every single time, now it seems like Mr. Yummy is talking about techniques and stuff. I kind of like that idea as well. If Janie could have had an Amber Alert put out and they would have been found, in my opinion, her delay may have cost those children their lives. Yeah, she would definitely be biased, Neural. Definitely. No doubt about that, right? No doubt about that. She'd be biased. For sure. For sure. One of these days, maybe I should get the deception deck. But, I thought about that and I thought, there's so many cards there. How would I know which one goes to which? It's just easier to listen to Mr. D, right? But the goal is to bring these babies home. That's the goal. Gotta come home. So my grannyism for today is talk much and they think you're a fool. Be silent and they become curious. In this one quote, we have Daniel and Malaya, don't we? Because Daniel pretty much has made himself out to be a fool by the way he talks. No, we want yummy. And Malaya's gone silent. So we have become curious, right? And that's why when it all came out that she was at the beach, everybody went wild, right? Which, in my opinion, went too far. I mean, they were saying some horrific things. And I don't know. You know me, so I put out the picture and I said, allegedly, Malaya was at the beach. Her friend said that they had to talk her into coming out or something like that. And that's all I said. I didn't cut her down and call her a bad, horrific mother because she was at the beach. She has no children right now to take care of. So how does her being at the beach make her a bad mother? It doesn't. Now, by her own statement, when the day that Jack and Lily went missing, the fact that she didn't get out of bed when those kids were awake, that makes her a negligent mother. But that had nothing to do with her going to the beach. So I think that was blown way out of proportion, guys, in my opinion. Take Durwood out of the picture. Who is overselling his story and needs attention and consistently lies? Gee, I wonder who that could be, Lori. I don't believe either one of them either, hon. Durwood is Daniel's puppet. Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is. And actually, I don't know if it was the last time he spoke, but one of the last times that he spoke, he was kind of cutting Daniel down, saying he knows he's lying. So, I mean, guys, it's crazy. It is crazy. So they're just all going to turn on each other and, you know, and yet Daniel thinks that Malaya is going to crack. And yeah, he likes that word. What does that represent? The word crack. I have to ask Mr. Yummy about that. What does the word crack mean? Because Daniel sure likes to use it a lot. What does that represent, right? In statement analysis. Or maybe Mike Demand. A good one to ask. What does that mean? He likes to take words that they say. Mike does. But so, yeah. Talk much, they think you're a fool. Yeah. Malaya didn't look unwell to me. She looked healthier than she did with Daniel. I agree. In that picture. I agree. I mean, think about it. She was kind of sequestered out there, right? That's a good point, Ginger. What kind of bully and intimidation tactics does he use to crack a person? Call her mental online, on social media, telling the world she's mentally challenged. Yes, Belinda and Durwood were on the same channel on panel together. I mean, she didn't know him personally, no, but she knows who he is now. And she said that she could go with his story. What he said about Malaya putting the kids in the car and blah, blah, blah. She said she could go with that. Meaning she could believe it. But yeah, very interesting. But anyway, guys, that's all I really had today. So why can't Daniel let go? Yeah. Was poor compared to before, like beaten down emotionally and maybe other ways. How long has Daniel been telling her she's mentally not okay? You know, guys, any of you that have been through DV and the controlling know this. They beat you down emotionally until you feel like you're nothing. That's why you don't tell anybody about what's happening to you. It's awful. Was he that way? I don't know. It seems like it, but could I live with Daniel? Absolutely not. No. And I could give you a number of reasons, Osprey. Number one, he's nothing to look at. Number two, he's too young for me. Number three, his personality. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. No. Narcissists, like control, and being gray rock drives them crazy. Maybe that is what is happening here. Could be. Reminds me of CP and Nina. Yep. And Anna says no too. Come on, ladies. Who all would live with Daniel? Anna and me say no. Osprey, one sentence out of him and I'd be gone. That's funny. One sentence. Yep. Come on, ladies. How about the rest of you? Could you live with Daniel? He's holding on to his freedom. He's terrified. Malaya opens up. I was a gray rock for 4 years going through court. Been there, got t-shirt, even looked like him. Okay, so we're all on the same page. Sorry, Daniel. You're not all that. Yes, exactly, Osprey. All laughing aside, if they have very different parenting styles, then there would be trouble. Absolutely. Especially when two of the children are not his, right? That's going to be a big problem. That's going to be a huge problem, right? And it sounded like they did have it. I agree, Granny. I could see him in that light. He probably got cracked by his mother. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, it's not all that in a bag of chips, even with the gold chain. Like to rip that gold chain from around his neck. He didn't look after them. He was just jealous of them. Could be. I don't know that he was jealous of them, Neuro. Maybe because of the attention, narcissist, could be, but I think of it more as I'd be scared to sleep, right? Yeah. Dark eyes. Oh. I see it more as if she was way on the lenient side of any kind of discipline where she just talked to them. And he was on the other side, then I could see that being a big issue. That's right. And he had supervised visits with his other kids. Tells me enough. Exactly. They don't put supervised visitation on you unless there's a reason for it. I'm just saying. Right? They just don't. What if Daniel became more controlling with Lily and Jack because of Meadow? Yeah, he just wanted Malaya and Meadow. I agree. How convenient it's not his child missing. Telling them to be quiet so the baby can sleep. Well, the baby was 16 months old. What baby isn't awake by 8 a.m. on a normal day? I don't know about you guys, but my babies went down early at night, but they were up early in the morning. 6, 7 o'clock, they were up, wanting their diaper changed and wanting their milk, wanting their foods, right? Yeah, it is a lot like Sebastian's story, and that's what's scary, isn't it? There's so many correlations. Just poof. It's amazing how kids can just vanish off the face of the earth with nothing to show where they went. Poof. Just poof. They're gone. Yours was a 5 a.m. baby. Gotcha. We got a horrible feeling he hurt Jack because he's a boy. Reminder of Cody. CP wanting Faith, not Sebastian. Yep. Yeah, my babies were up early in the morning. I would have been already up at that point. My baby and my other 2 kids. I'm telling you, something was wrong there. Well, if he hurt Jack, Lily probably saw it. So then what? He had to hurt her too? So, Lori, do you really feel like this is red rum then? I mean, I don't honestly know. I gotta say, I don't honestly know. I really don't. I mean, the best case scenario, the most wonderful scenario would be that they are with someone, right? That she sent them off with someone to protect. But it doesn't make sense because she called 911. So would she really do that on herself? I'm just saying. Couldn't she have just called 911 and said, I want to take my kids and leave here. He's being mean. You're welcome, Anna. Thank you. So if we turn the tables on the narcissist, it was Daniel, not Malaya, who changed when Meta was born. Yeah. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Who's the one that's mentally ill? Who's the one that can't tell the truth? I mean, I don't know. But anyway, guys, that's all I had for today. Think about that. Why can't Daniel let go? Narcissist much, maybe? I don't know. I'll leave you with that. Want to thank you guys for being here. Please, please hit the like button on your way out. I would really, really appreciate it. And have a wonderful evening. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.